My RPG Valentine is a RPG Maker VX game created by A Hill Reborn. The game is a rather simple RPG that makes for a rather unenjoyable experience in my opinion, though if you want to understand why, you'll need to stick around for a bit longer. The story follows a young adventurer, his sister, and a few other villagers' quests to track down 3 legendary items of purity that our young hero needs to create the ultimate Valentine. While this is all well and good, the game never reveals what the legends about these items are, and that is not okay in my opinion. It's obvious that these legends are widely known about inside the game's universe, so there is no reason for why this information shouldn't be available to the audience. It also doesn't make sense for these items to be considered legendary if they have been found many times before. In terms of combat, my RPG Valentine utilizes a turn-based combat system with random encounters, which is something that I enjoy. On the other hand, the random encounter rate in this game feels a bit high in my opinion. I swear there are far too many times where I'd win one encounter, only take half a dozen steps before getting attacked again. This wouldn't be such an annoying issue if the game was shorter, but the high encounter rate makes the game feel unnecessarily padded after a while. It also doesn't help that the combat is rather boring, since you can get by just fine by mashing on the attack option, and if you're feeling really lazy, you can simply wipe out the entire enemy party with a board wiping skill. I also encountered one major bug over the course of this game. Once you've entered the forest, you're unable to leave. Thankfully, this isn't a game-ending bug, since all of the cutscenes in this game magically transport you out of the current dungeon you are in, but it does mean if you revisit the area after you've cleared it, you'll be helplessly trapped unless you return to the title screen. Graphically speaking, the game is a mixed bag in my opinion. While I do think the mapping for the various dungeons is decent, the house is counterbalanced this by feeling a bit needlessly cluttered with objects that take up space for no apparent reason. There's no real benefit to having clothes on dummies in a home, especially if there's a clothing cabinet nearby. Another up and down issue for me is the game doesn't seem to have any custom graphic work outside of the title screen, which looks like something I could whip up and paint in a few minutes. I wouldn't say this is necessarily a bad thing, but like many games, this title doesn't really stand out from the crowd. And finally, I question the face set selection for the final boss of the game. Neither choice really fits the final boss in my opinion. The first selection was obviously chosen to make the boss feel mysterious, but it doesn't really fit the appearance of the boss. But I could overlook that selection to an extent. The after battle selection though is for the Ice Elemental, and it doesn't match the appearance of the final boss at all. Even this aspect of the game feels a bit weak in my opinion. I was honestly expecting the game to include at least one silly little love song, and I'm sure there isn't anything wrong with that expectation. After all, some people just want to fill the world with silly little love songs, and a game dedicated to Valentine's Day would seem like a good opportunity to do just that. My RPG Valentine is a simple novelty game that just isn't any good in my opinion. The combat is boring and unappealing, the lack of original artwork means the game doesn't stand out, and the lack of world building around the 3 magical MacGuffins at the heart of the story makes the writing feel extremely sloppy. The game just needs a lot of tender loving care to address all of its issues in my opinion, so as it stands, I really can't recommend this game to anyone.